spending 2 amazing days in the nation of Wales, immersing myself in its very unique culture and language and the natural beauty of its amazing landscape was an experience of a lifetime. But moving forward, I make a short drive north and head for Scotland. After getting off the major highways, I was able to enjoy the Scottish countryside for a little bit before heading into Edinburgh. What I seen did not fail to disappoint and made me really look forward to what lied ahead. The last thing I remember seeing was a massive pine tree farm before it got too dark and I got into the city. Throughout this trip, I have used the Booking.com app on my iPhone to get places to stay, and this time it really paid off. For the next 3 nights at the Stay City Hotel, I was able to get this actual apartment for only about $400. Really an amazing deal for what you get. I try to pack as light as possible, and that means not bringing many clothes. This place had a washer and dryer I really needed, a huge living room with a full kitchen, a very nice bathroom, and a king-size bed. The view out the window was not ideal, but the location was. Just a short walk through Edinburgh found me quickly approaching the historic central Edinburgh, where Edinburgh Castle sits on top of the hill. I quickly found myself at the top of the Royal Mile, right at the hub. Although the hub is a multi-functioning building, at first glance it looks like a church due to its tall Gothic spire. Built in 1842, its tall spire is still the highest point in central Edinburgh. I enjoyed a short walk around central Edinburgh. There is a lot of unique shops and great restaurants and pubs. One of my good friends back home wanted a kilt, and I was looking around for a shop to buy one, which there are many, so I need to do a lot of looking around to see which one is best for the kilt I want to bring home. Just before getting to Edinburgh Castle's esplanade, there is the very cool Contini Cannonball Bar and Grill. It gets its name from this actual cannonball that was shot into the wall during one of the many sieges of Edinburgh Castle. So after much walking around, I decided it was time to go up and see the castle. You don't need a ticket to walk up to the castle's esplanade and check out the front gate. The view of Edinburgh from the esplanade is great, especially on such a beautiful morning like this. Approaching Edinburgh Castle's gate, you'll notice 2 statues, to the left and to the right. To the left is Robert the Bruce, and to the right, William Wallace. Past this gate is where you need to buy a ticket to go on any further, and when I seen the line, I really started to panic that it may take half the day to get in. Now just behind me is an abandoned kiosk for online ticket pickups. In this line, I notice half the people are looking at their smartphones, so I pulled out my smartphone and went to the website on this ticket and bought my ticket and printed it out at this kiosk in less than a minute, bypassing this long line completely, and I still have no idea why nobody was using it. Some of these people waited hours in line for their ticket, and I just printed mine right out. Then walked right in and enjoyed the castle. So when you go to Edinburgh Castle, make sure you take advantage of that smartphone in your hand and print your ticket out online before you get there. As you can see, the castle is a very busy place, and that is with good reason. It is an absolute landmark of Scotland, and I overheard someone say that if Edinburgh Castle was held by Scots, all of Scotland was free. This is a statue dedicated and built in admiration of Field Marshal Douglas Haig. The title of peerage Earl Haig was given to him for his exceptional service and bravery in World War I. Throughout Edinburgh Castle, there are many different museums, most of them related to Scottish war history. Inside these museums are many amazing things, including this, actual items from the coronation of Robert the Bruce after the War of Scottish Independence, including the actual claymore used in the ceremony. But the best thing to me was getting a chance to see the Stone of Destiny, or the Stone of Scone. Pictured here is a replica. Pictures in the room the stone was kept was forbidden by museum officials. They were there yelling at people the whole time to stop taking pictures, and that seemed to be their job all day. I really did feel sorry for them, as this seemed an impossible task. I chose to respect the rules, and I didn't take any pictures or videos in this room, and just took the time to admire the stone. The very well-named Stone of Destiny predates recorded history. Nobody can really say just how long this stone was used. The Dalriada, originally an Irish tribe, brought it from across the sea, where it was used as a coronation seat for the kings of the Dalriada, starting back to the beginning of the tribe. After their migration across the sea, they conquered the native Picts, and soon the entire area was speaking the Gaelic language, and the native Pictic language is long lost to history, aside from a few place names. And this is how the first kingdom of Scotland was born. The stone remained in continuous use by the Scots until March of 1296, when another conqueror showed up on the scene. The King of England, Edward I, also known as Longshanks or the Hammer of Scots. After his conquest of Scotland, he took the stone back to Westminster Abbey in London, where it remained until Christmas Day 1950, when a group of Scottish nationalist students retook the stone back to Scotland. They were actually assisted by an Englishman named John Joslin, Edward I's 21st great-grandson. However, despite all their efforts, the stone was recaptured by the UK government and taken back to Westminster. Finally, due to growing discontent, in 1996, the stone was finally returned to Scotland. In 2008, the events of the theft was made into a film called The Stone of Destiny. To be able to see with my own eyes something this old and this significant was something I will never forget. There is so much to see and do here in Edinburgh Castle, and everywhere you go there's a new museum dedicated to some other part of Scottish history. Even here at the Half Moon Battery, underneath the platform lies the burial site and remains of King David, the son of the great Robert the Bruce. There is also St. Margaret's Chapel, the oldest building in the castle, and also the oldest building in Edinburgh itself. It was built by King David around 1130 in honor of his mother, St. Margaret of Scotland. And just outside St. Margaret's Chapel, on display, is Mons Meg, an absolutely huge bombard siege cannon from the 15th century. Constructed in 1449 as a gift for King James II, Mons Meg weighs in at 13,000 pounds. It sits on top a reconstructed carriage next to reconstructions of what would have been its ammo. Something that is very unique among castles that I have visited is this dog cemetery. It's only used for regimental mascots and the dogs of officers. It was started in the time of Queen Victoria. One of the oldest parts of the castle still accessible is David's Tower. You have to go down the stairs near the Half Moon Battery to access this area. It's almost easy to miss if you're not looking for it. The upper part of the tower was completely destroyed during the Lang Siege, and the lower part of the tower has long been built over, but it is remarkably well preserved. There is something about walking around in the dark, underground old ruins of this castle that is just very creepy. To think of all the things that have happened here. To look at all these old stones, and to think of all the things that have happened in their presence. The changes in people, the changes in language, the tragic events, and the good ones. All the horror of battle and conquest, and the desperate watch of a siege. Gives me a sense of wonder that I think I will only ever get from traveling. To visit these places and add the presence of my own person to the memory of these stones. I don't think I will ever lose my desire to see more of the world. I spent a lot of time in Edinburgh. compared to other places on my trip. I really enjoyed this city. It's full of monument and tradition. The city also has very peculiar shops and restaurants. Here at the Fiddler's Arms, I tried haggis with my full Scottish breakfast for the very first time, and I have to say that I loved it. People all over the rest of the UK warned me that when I got to Scotland the food would be very bad, and I couldn't disagree more. It was my favorite food anywhere. It was here I also tried Indian food for the first time in my life. I tried it at several different places, and the best that I found was at the Pakora bar. On my last night in Edinburgh, I was very restless and just couldn't get to sleep. I decided to take a nice long walk around the city and take it all in at night. The next morning when I got up, I packed and loaded the car and got ready to hit the road, but I still had to solve this kilt problem. I went to several different shops, and I ended up going with Armstrong & Son. I think it fit my friend best, as it was a very vintage kilt and just a bit battered, just like my friend Kirk. I also grabbed a blanket for my mother. After getting the kilt, I walked back to the car and hit the road. I said my farewells to Edinburgh, and I made my way to Stirling for the Wallace Monument and Battleground. Thanks for watching.